Once upon a time, in a remote and windswept corner of Ireland, there was a place called Donegal. Nestled along the wild northern coast, this land was a place where folklore danced in the air as easily as the melodies of fiddles played in the pubs and homes. It's here, in the rugged hills and valleys, that the story of Gypsy Mor unfolds, a tale of a fiddler whose music was as bound to the harvest moon as the land itself. This story, passed down through generations, was shared with me one night, under that very same moon, as I sat among the keepers of Donegal's musical tradition. Let me take you back to that night, to a time when magic was real and the harvest moon had the power to bring forth more than just light. There is something about Donegal's night air. It is thick with the scent of earth and stories long buried in the hills. That night, I sat with Caimhin MacElroy and Jimmy Campbell, two legends in their own right, fiddlers whose music had breathed life into forgotten tales. We were deep into a conversation that slipped in and out of Irish and English, a language blend I could barely keep up with. But something in the rhythm of their voices told me I did not need to understand every word. It was Jimmy who first mentioned Gypsy Mor, a man whose name had become as legendary as the tunes that hung in the air. Gypsy Mor wasn't just a fiddler, he was a giant in the tradition. A tall, burly figure, he was the kind of man who would appear as if summoned by the harvest moon itself, an omen of something strange and magical. I learned that Gypsy Mor only shaved when the harvest moon graced the sky. He'd stand under its eerie glow, its pale light making the world around him shimmer with mystery, and it was in those moments that he would pick up his fiddle as if the moon itself had cast its spell on him. The moon, it seemed, held sway over him in ways few could understand, and when it appeared, that was when the magic flowed through his bow, weaving its way into the very heart of the music. I had already spent a few hours getting lost in the intricate melodies of Donegal's fiddlers, but when they played Gypsy Mor's favourite tune, Hielach na Gwynlich Harvest Moon, it was as if the room itself shuddered. The notes seemed to carry the weight of 100 generations. As the fiddles wept, I could almost see him, tall and strong, standing under the harvest moon, his bow dancing across the strings with a fervour that could only be summoned by the magic of the night. That tune, they told me, was not just a piece of music, it was a reflection of Gypsy Mor's belief in the moon's power, a belief that lived in the very fabric of his soul. It was as if, through the song, he was connecting with something much older than himself, something ancient and eternal. I couldn't help but feel it too, even though I didn't fully understand the tradition. The music wrapped itself around me, pulling me deeper into the mystery. By the end of the night, as the moon hung higher in the sky, I found myself inebriated by both the whiskey and the music. The sounds of fiddles and laughter faded into the distance, but the image of Gypsy Mor stayed with me. It was as if he had always been there, waiting for the harvest moon to rise again, to play his tune and remind the world of the magic that lies hidden in the heart of Donegal. I never did see Gypsy Mor with my own eyes, but in the echo of that tune, I knew I'd encountered something much greater. The harvest moon had its power, and so did the music, and I realized that night, under that same moon, that some stories aren't just told, they're felt in the very air around us.